name is Lauren Stump, and the concept I chose to work on was an app prototype called TruGive that gives users easy access to donate their time, money, and resources to trusted organizations and charities. I felt challenged by the brief because I wanted to create something that provided entity transparency and gave users unique ways to give or volunteer, not just donate money. I approached the design by interviewing potential users about how and what they donate, what they like about donating, what frustrated them, and what tools they used. I then took this information and developed a process involving going back and forth between user research, user testing, and revising wireframes based on the results of user flow tests to meet those needs and avoid any negative user experience. In the initial stages of my research, I researched the subject of charity and identified who my potential users might be. I did this by researching competitors and other similar entities, and I read through their reviews to see who their clients were and what their clients had to say about their products or services. Once I had enough information about competitors and their clients, I made a comparison list of pros and cons to help determine what features might be necessary to include in my design and what features I might want to avoid. I then created a user flow chart to demonstrate how one might navigate these features and created a user persona to show what kind of people might use this kind of app. Once I was confident that I had identified the type of audience that would use the app, I outlined some steps on how I might further engage the audience using gamification. I then sketched low-fidelity wireframes to generate initial ideas about the app structure and functionality. Showing the sketched wireframes to some test users provided some great insight into how users might navigate the app without me spending too much time and energy. Based on the results from the tests, I was able to sort the content using cards and organize the information architecture better and develop a better onboarding user flow. Once I felt I had more intuitive user flow, I created a low-fidelity prototype using Adobe XD. Once again, I asked users to test the prototype on their phones to see if they had any trouble navigating the app or if any areas caused confusion. After I worked out all the kinks in the app's functional features for more effortless, more pleasant user experience, I began to work on the visual design. I wanted to create something simple yet attractive and approachable for the visual design. The color palette, for example, uses bright, bold blues and teals as the primary color, pink as the accent, and light grays in the background. I chose blue because it represents trust, networking, connectivity, and generosity, as well as kindness and calmness. I also chose pink because it symbolizes compassion and is a friendly, approachable, and caring color. Gray is modern and unobtrusive, which I consider a perfect background color. I almost went with blues and yellows, which would have been complementary, but the yellows were so bright that they hindered readability. I wanted to ensure enough contrast between colors and text to ensure accessibility compliance. I chose the font family Poppins for the main font, which is easily legible, readable, and has a visually pleasing disposition. I used various text sizes and weights to help establish an information hierarchy, especially since this app is meant to be used on a smartphone. Even when I tried to make it responsive, the design for the desktop didn't translate well. I also chose mobile as the app's leading platform because every user I interviewed stated they rarely use their desktops to look for charity events or opportunities. My users seemed to respond well to the app's visual design and were able to navigate the platform without any significant issues. To iterate my approach to the design and development, I performed initial competitor and user research to help understand my target audience, including their capabilities, limitations, goals, expectations, and tasks. The user research then gave me insights into how to generate ideas and early designs, such as user flows, wireframes, and prototypes, that would either solve the user's issues or help them perform their tasks. After the design step, I would evaluate or reevaluate my work by capturing user feedback, measuring the user's experience through the project, and adjusting the design to fix any existing or new problems found during the content inventory auditory process. I used this cyclical approach of researching, designing, and evaluating to smooth out the design until I was satisfied with the final prototype. One assumption I had that I tested using this approach was that it would be easier for users to judge which entities to donate to if their financial and geopolitical information was transparent. But this proved to be too much information, and it was too difficult to design. And all of the information made the users feel overwhelmed, so I opted for a peer-reviewed system instead, where users could rate and comment on each organization. If I'm being honest, this was a challenging module. Nothing I initially imagined turned out the way it did, but I'm glad I went in the direction I did. I feel like I had these big plans to create this all-in-one omnipotent charity giving app, but I bit off more than I could chew and had to find a simpler design solution. I've reflected throughout that the thing users say they have an issue with isn't actually the thing they have a real issue with. There's a deeper problem that needs to be solved, and the thing a user initially has an issue with is just a symptom of that underlying problem. This is why empathy is a crucial skill to have as a UX designer. The other thing I learned is that UX designers are storytellers with powerful, influential skills. Therefore, we have an obligation to help simplify our users' lives ethically and responsibly. For example, one of the biggest risks of this project, in my opinion, is the storing of financial and personally identifiable information. If that information were to get into the wrong hands, the user's financial assets or location could be put at risk. In the future, I may want to include a password-protected feature before the user continues to the payment page to secure their finances and personal information. And my next step would be to research best practices for user security on personally identifiable information. Until then, thank you so much for watching my presentation. If you would like to look at my process in more detail, please visit my critical reflection journal at www.laurensthumb.com.